Welcome to Chok Muay Chats. I am Joe Comerford. I'm a Muay Thai commentator on RWS, ring announcer on Siam Real Combat, and also an analyst in the world of Muay Thai. Former fighter, content creator. If you follow this channel, you know who I am. I don't need to tell you. If you like Chok Muay Chats, please like, share, subscribe. This is a podcast where we talk about all things Muay Thai in the world of Muay Thai. I'm sitting with a very special man today, Joshua Martin, a professional fighter, a talent scout who's involved with one of the best up-and-coming promotions in Europe, unifying European Muay Thai into one promotion. Very exciting stuff. So I'm here to talk all about his journey and what this promotion is all about. Mr. Joshua Martin, welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you very much, Joe. It is a privilege and an honor to be on this podcast. I listen to it in my free time, and now I get to be on it. So very excited.
Well, I'm excited to have you here because when you guys reached out to me and you told me a little bit about the promotion and what's happening in the future, I was excited because it aligns a lot with what I talk about in my content and aligns with my, I don't want to say values, but worldview. I would say that, it really aligns with my worldview in Muay Thai. I don't like to get stuck into the values thing because it always sounds a little bit too corporate, but certainly worldview, and I think that's an important thing because Muay Thai at the moment is not one sport. It seems to be an umbrella term at the moment. We've got different rule sets, different promotions, different avenues for different fighters to go down towards. And I'm excited to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing in Europe. So first things first, how did you get into Muay Thai?
Good question. Silly answer. I had a girlfriend when I was really young there was a guy who was hitting on her, and I as all 12-year-olds, was like, stop talking to my girlfriend. And he was like, I'll do what I want. I was like, I'll fight you. And he's like, I'm a K1 champion. And he was massive. And I was like, okay, I'm going to train a little bit and then I'm going to fight you. And he's like, okay. So we agreed on a time period where I would get ready to fight him. Very, very silly. Can I just preface this with that? I got to the gym. I let them know why I was there. The coach beat me up, told me not to fight anybody on the streets, as he should have, and as you shouldn't. You should never fight outside of a ring or a gym. But I loved it so much and I stayed. My dad had been a boxer and he had kind of always talked about competition and fighting. And so started there but never stopped.
Now, that would have been in England, correct?
No, so I'm Cypriot, so I grew up in Cyprus. I only moved to England later on. And now, of course, I train a lot in England with my coach Dan. But I live in Cyprus. I grew up in Cyprus, and I started here in Larnaca.
Interesting, because I was about to ask you, what was the Cypriot connection? I mean, if people think about Cyprus Muay Thai, they immediately think of Savas Michael, of course, who is one of the big representatives of Cypriot Muay Thai last night, fought City Suck on RWS. Finally got the win at RWS. Has taken a little bit of time off. Had a bit of a rough go against Summingdep, but, finally got the wheels in motion and got the win. One of the first, well, not one of the first, but, the first Cypriot fighter to ever fight on Channel 7 as well. So, big things for Cyprus Muay Thai. So, what is the connection between you and your current gym right now in Cyprus?
So I'm the owner of the big gym, where it's called the Big Gym of Muay Thai and Fitness. We shorten it to the Big Gym. You can see it behind me. It's a tiny gym. That's part of the joke. So I started this gym about 4 years ago, and that was the beginning of everything. I started training some fighters, and we'll touch more on the journey, I'm sure. But I'm the owner and the head coach. I have a boxing coach and I have an assistant coach, and then I have some other people who are very passionate and they help out in the gym. But this is what I do. This is my passion. This is my lifeblood, my lifeline. This is everything I love being right here.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some phenomenal talent coming through there, and working out with you guys. You know, of course, Dan McGowan makes his appearance, and then my good Scottish friend who sometimes come through.
Yeah,
Um,
Neo.
Neo is a good boy. Fought on RWS against Deisho. Big fight since Deisho was Channel 7 fighter at the time, and very tough fight. Big step up for Neo at the time. Now, moving beyond that aspect, we'll go straight into kind of the promotion that we're really here to talk about. We're here to talk about the promotion. Now, at what point did you realize you wanted to move beyond fighting, training, and owning a gym into the organizational side of the sport?
Yeah, great question. I don't know that I ever realized in such a firm way. I never set out to do it, but I was a big UFC fan in the beginning. That was kind of what I was into. That's what I started watching, and I loved Dana White and his role and the way he goes about it in a certain way. I'm not saying I would, but he's very entertaining. He's very powerful, and he changed the sport. Love him or hate him, he's built this sport into what it is, along with the incredibly talented fighters and the rest of the staff. But he's changed the world of fight sports. I was always interested in it. I felt like I could do a good job of it, and there was this promotion that I was seeing kind of on the rise in the UK, and they were really interesting me. I was intrigued as to how they were doing what they were doing because they were doing it all quite differently. There was a lot of media, like a lot, great interviews, great pad work videos, great posters, great pre, post, and intra fight. And so I set up a call through a good friend of mine who you probably know, Liam Patel, trains out of Bangkok. Yeah, what you call his fights, yeah. So he's a really good friend of mine, great guy, great fighter, and he set up a call for me with Amr, who is the part owner of World Super Series, which was he was also part owner of Leap Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a call with him, and I basically just said, "What is this? Like, I don't understand. How does it seem like you're a very, very big organization, but you're not very, very big? And when I say that, I mean RWS One Championship. How is it possible that you appear one way and the quality appears one way, but you're not that yet?" I just wanted to know what was being done that was so different. I just found it quite interesting, and I had no involvement in anything other than being a coach, being a fighter,
Mm.
and we just had a really good chat. And I guess he made an impression on me big time. He's a really incredible guy, but he made an impression on me. But I didn't realize. I guess I must have made an impression on him. And then fast forward, I guess 2 years, I'm working with Michalis Manolis, who you might also know. He's semi-retired. You know, he doesn't fight very often, but he does fight. But
Mm.
he was a really, really good fighter on the Max Muay Thai scene, back when Max Muay Thai was like the thing. Um, he's a good friend of mine as well, and he helps me out a lot. And he has a promotion here in Cyprus called New Era, and we agreed to do a collaboration. So I funded Leapfrog coming over, and he funded the show, and we put the two together, and we did a live stream. I had my professional debut on that show. You know, it was a massive moment in my life. Let's say I met the whole Leapfrog team, and through meeting these individuals and them seeing the way I operate, I guess when Leapfrog ceased to exist, and some of the members, namely our Armour, became World Super Series, Armour and
Mm.
Charlie together. They asked me if I would come on board in a certain role, and that kind of developed and changed as we've become more established. You know, we're a new promotion, so the roles are always changing, and our approach to it is always changing. So my role has shifted a little bit. But I just got this great opportunity from them, which I'm really thankful for because I love Muay Thai. I'm obsessed with Muay Thai. You can't see
Mm.
it, but behind you there's a bunch of golden era legends.
Yeah, I can
And the
see there on the left, on my left hand side there.
Pampayak's on that. I think Montai's on that. Your boat is on that. It's a cool. It's from Lord K2. I don't know if you know him. He's a great artist, but
Yes, yeah, yeah, yep. I know Lord K too. Yep.
obsessed with Muay Thai. If I'm not teaching it, which I am, basically 10 hours a day, then I'm watching it.
Mm.
And if I'm not watching it, then I'm trying to pretend I'm not thinking about it and pay attention to my family. But I'm thinking about. I wonder how my son's gonna kick. I wonder how he's gonna. What's his style gonna be? Is he southpaw? He's standing funny. Maybe he's southpaw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just obsessed, and I got this great opportunity to work for what is going to be a really, really special and unique promotion, and that's the story, Morning Glory.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because when you guys reached out to me, you told me a little bit about the values and the direction of the promotion. I was really intrigued, and as I said, it really aligned with how I view Muay Thai and how I want it to go. And big thing for me was the unification of everything across Europe. Now, just thinking about getting beyond how you got in with World Super Series, your role specifically at the moment is kind of matchmaking and talent management, basically. Now, how does that run day to day at the moment for people who don't understand matchmaking or talent management? How does that run day to day for you? What's a normal day in talent management for Josh Martin?
Yeah. So one thing I'd add into that, because this is the large portion of my day, is international relations. So
Mm.
we actually have a really good roster of matchmakers in house and people we cooperate with in World Super Series. So I am involved in the matchmaking. The talent development side and the international relations side is probably where most of the focus goes, because we have some really good matchmakers and I cooperate with them and I make sure that the cards are up to standard. But as I said, they're so skilled. That's not something that I have my hands all over. But what I am doing is scouting talent from around the world and then developing these relationships with important people within the world of Muay Thai around the world. So one of them is yourself. That is why we came to you. It's no coincidence that your values align with our values, and
Mm.
we're now working together. I knew that about you because I've been a supporter for a long time. I've been watching your content, and I knew as soon as it came to, hey, we should think about getting some media guys. I said, well, I think I know the perfect guy. So it's a similar thing all the time with, let's say, Spain right now. I'm matchmaking with Jacinto from Muay Sapien. He's Mario Alvarez's coach. I'm sure you know. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
yep,
But for those who are not as into Mario Alvarez is an absolute star and a phenom, by the way, for anybody who wants to check him out. But yeah, Jacinto and I are matchmaking for a show. He obviously has a huge wealth of knowledge and a lot more experience in this game than I do. But he and I cooperate together on putting on the best international and local fights for a show in his region. So that is most of what I'm doing day to day, is finding fighters that I'm incredibly interested in from around the world and then seeing if we can bring them into certain regions within Europe. So right now we're doing that. You'll be happy to hear this. We're in talks with James Kostic, who is
mm.
probably my favorite up and coming fighter right now. I absolutely love him. And he and his team, by the way, have been such a pleasure to work with. What gym does he come from, bro? I don't actually know the.
SRG. It's a big gym in Sydney. Rengert, which means never give up. Run by Lewis Regis, is a WMC Australian champion, I believe, a world champion. His last fight, he fought Yodson Clay on one championship, I believe.
Wow.
Lewis Regis, he's been around. He's fought some really, really top contenders. But Lewis is a very, very smart guy. He made some connections with my old trainer and has got a bunch of really high level Thai trainers that used to be trainers at Sitsong Pinong when it was in Phuket at the time, and has also got some really, really good Thai trainers from around the traps as well. They've got a really good team of fighters, of course, James Kostic, a bunch of other guys that have fought on RWS. Lewis Kajaiba, he's there as well. Phenomenal team coming out of SRG. And a big shout out to Lewis if you're listening to this. Phenomenal fighter back in the day. It was actually a series called Warriors of the Mongkong, which, documentary highlighted Lewis in one of the episodes, I believe. If you ever watch Warriors of the Mongkong, definitely watch it. Fantastic. I think it was a 2-season series about people in the world of Muay Thai. Probably like the 2014-15 era, Australian and international Muay Thai. Now, just getting back to World Super Series, coming back around to World Super Series, fairly new promotion, has been making pretty solid marks on social media at the moment, like really clean product. If we look at like design, marketing, mission statement, really, really clean designs. Everything Charlie's been pushing online as well has been creme de la creme. What do you, just looking at your personal perspective, what is the World Super Series mission statement to you personally?
To me personally, we had a very interesting chat with the team at World Super Series, and everybody sees it slightly differently. So that is a really interesting phrasing of the question because it is different for me. What World Super Series mission statement to me is to unite the world of Muay Thai. It's very fragmented. There are some really, really high level promotions doing things incredibly well, and we're big fans of them. And we're not here to try and be better. We're just
Mm-mm-mm.
here to be different in our own way, and we want to try and unite these fragmented pieces, create corporations, give really good opportunities to fighters that really deserve it. You're a former professional fighter. You know what it's like. The training that goes into it, the sacrifices that are made, and then the whatever the opposite of longevity is of a fighter. It's incredibly short, right? The training is super rigorous, and you're also getting punched in the head all the time. So you've got two things there that are kind of shortening the lifespan of your career, and they deserve to be paid a lot of money. Fighters should be getting paid a lot of money. Fighters should be super famous, and fighters should have the spotlight shone on them. Everybody in the world loves fighting. Okay, that was a generalization. Some people hate it, but yeah, some people really hate it, like my mother and my wife. But it is such a universally beloved sport, whether it's boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA, whatever it is, people love it. And so we just want, you were saying the content created by World Super Series is so good. That's something that is very, very special about World Super Series. We're going to do so much content around the fighters. We're going to try and help them grow from, if it's zero, up to hero. But for a lot of these guys, they're not at zero, they're somewhere. But maybe they need help with their social media, their marketability, whatever else. We're going to put a lot of effort into the fighters, the coaches, and the sport itself. We're not here to take, we're here to give. So the mission statement is unite the fragmented pieces of Muay Thai and bring a product to not only Europe. We're starting in Europe, but this is going worldwide, and we would like to bring a product to the lovers of Muay Thai
Mm.
that is incredibly high quality and ticks the boxes of what they want and what they need, just not what is gonna not just what is gonna fill our pocket. We're a promotion of the people, is how I see it for sure. And that
Mm.
is evident in the way that they choose their team. That's evident in the organic grassroots way that they go about promoting fighters. That's evident in the way that they do matchups. We don't have any feed them to the wolves kind of matchups. We're in cooperations with many, many different countries and many industry leaders in those countries, as I was saying. And we're working with them to help grow Muay Thai in their countries as well. This is for the people, all people. Me, you, Joe Blogs, the next great fighter, the current great fighter. It's for everybody.
Absolutely. I love that mission statement. And we were talking on the phone a while ago and we were saying it's for the fighter, by the fighter. And that's probably one of the biggest things about promotions is as a fighter, you want to come into a promotion that's organized. You can just come in and do your job and then leave. Like you look at some of the having fought in Thailand, having fought around Australia as well, some promotions are completely disorganized and you end up spend more time running around spend more time running around town trying to sell tickets and get a cut of those tickets. All you want to really worry about is your fight purse. When we were speaking about this was one big thing is, the fighters don't need to go and worry about selling tickets per se. They've got their purse, they've got their pay packet, and then each fight they tend to level up across the board. Now, just thinking about World Super Series, how do you balance the entertainment factor, fighter development, and sporting integrity when we're looking at matching these fighters? Because they're three big areas, right? So we need to think about entertainment. How are we getting customers through the door, right? We're going to entertain them. Number 2, sporting integrity, making sure that the scoring, the refereeing, the judging is fair. Not only that the fighter's being looked after. And 3, fair matchups. And you've already covered one of those by saying that we're not looking to do one-sided matchups. And we've already seen that with the card that's coming out at the moment. Incredibly matched fights. Incredible. If we look at the main event, which we'll talk a little bit later. But what's the entertainment factor? What are we bringing to the table in World Super Series?
Yeah, so Charlie's got a really interesting vision for the entertainment factor that will be unique to World Super Series, and I will let him debut that when it's time because it is going to be quite unique, and he's very passionate about it. Aside from that, production is going to be top quality. We're investing a lot of money into the production uh, side of everything. We have an incredible team when it comes to the live broadcast and the marketing. I think the entertainment value will come from uh, our rule set and our scoring, which I can explain in some level of detail because it's no secret and it's no we haven't reinvented the wheel, but we've just taken bits and bits and we've put something together. So the rule set and then the matchmaking, I think, like oftentimes, listen, it's very cool when you see a Thai kick somebody's head off. You know what I'm saying? Like that's cool. However, how many times do you want to see that? Would you not rather see two, maybe 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30 or anywhere in between? Obviously sometimes there's got to be some kind of favor on one side for a fighter to get anywhere. It can't be 50-50 every time. But in general, putting on these really good matchups, I'm fighting on one of our shows in a couple of months. And I mean, I, I'm 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 involved in the matchmaking. I could have given myself a journeyman to run
Mm.
over and look good, post all over my socials. My opponent has much more amateur experience, significantly more pro experience, and looks terrifying. But I just went, if I fight him, is it going to be good for the show? Yes, it's going to be entertaining. The styles work, so we're matched up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I'm doing that for myself, imagine what we're doing with the. Nobody's getting preferential treatment. I've matched several of my friends on this card with the help of the other matchmakers. And by friends, I mean within the industry. Obviously, we've got two of the McGowan Muay Thai fighters on the show. they're not fighting any slouches. They're not fighting any bums. Corey Chessel is fighting, I think, three-time world champion. Is that right?
Mm. Hmm.
Johannes Bach. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a that's not an easy fight for Corey. And Corey's a good friend of mine. But that's what we're about. So that's where the entertainment value is going to come from. Great fighters fighting great fighters in fights that can elevate both careers. And then our rule set, which, like a lot of modern day entertainment Muay Thai, limits stalling. So stalling was kind of a big part of five round Muay Thai, which I think both of us love, right?
Mm.
So I really loved like the 2010s, kind of there and about Pet Buchu, Muay Thai. Sanchai was still active. Pet Moricott, like plus minus the 2010s was such a good time. There was a fair degree of like stalling and where they would start dancing in the fifth round, and that was part of the game, and I love it, and I don't get bored when I watch it because there's such an intricate art to it. But that's kind of the fans have made it clear that that's not something they're willing to try and understand these days. They just want to see some action.
Well, there's a big cultural shift even here in Thailand. Sorry to cut across you, but
No, it's okay.
today I was doing the Muay Thai soft power show that was backed by the government here in Thailand, and Ali, I don't know if you know Ali McConey, but he's a commentator. He used to commentate on Max Muay Thai. Great guy. Now we were watching a fight where in the fifth round both fighters were stalling, and this is the first time that I've seen this, I think, ever in Muay Thai, where the referee pulled up both fighters, gave them a warning to continue fighting. They were stalling, doing the dancing. Second warning, pulled them both up. Both fighters lost a point. So, and that just shows me that there's a massive cultural shift just across the board. And I mean, even Bank Tainchai, the CEO of RWS, we were talking. Where I did a video about does beautiful Muay Thai still exist, because I was talking about some global promotions are incentivizing just knockouts and just going for that, but at Rajadamnern they incentivize beautiful Muay Thai techniques like flying knees and spinning back elbow knockouts to get an extra bonus for that. And I think that's exactly. And we were talking about the fact that a lot of fans have this connection, probably old school fans, or no, not so much old school fans, perhaps newer fans of Muay Thai have this perception of like femur fighters as back foot fighters, but running away. And we don't want to encourage that. We don't want to encourage the dancing. Nobody wants to watch the dancing anymore. And I think this is a really, really important thing that you guys are doing as well. Not only that, but the entertainment factor, the big thing that you guys are doing is pushing the narratives, the media exposure for the fighters. And we were talking about this as well, is that one of the things that Muay Thai promotions a lot, RWS does this, I really think, does this well for a lot of their title fights, is pushing the narrative of the fighters. They do these really neat media packages for the title fights. And I'd love to see that across the board for every single fight, going out and interviewing them. Now, they do that on the social media, but I would love to see that, like just a small YouTube episode on each fighter. I know it takes a lot of money. I know it takes a lot of work, but it's something that connects the fans to the fighters. And I know that is kind of one of the things that World Super Series is doing, because they have that backing from the leapfrog background, which is one of the big things that they were doing as well. Really centering themselves about the media exposure for the fighters, and that's
Well, I'd
part of that.
love.
Sorry,
Sorry, no, please.
no. That's part of that entertainment factor as well, not just for the fights.
Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say I'd love to shine a light on Amir, who kind of he takes a bit of a background role, but actually he is integral to the running of World Super Series, and he actually is the guy driving around to the fighters to film them. He runs Chaya Vision as well. That's Chaiya Vision. I just want to plug that because I don't have anything to do with that. That's all him, but that's an incredible account. he is so honoring to the fighters and to the coaches. He is very knowledgeable about the sport, despite not being a former or current fighter himself. He just loves Muay Thai, and he loves people. I don't know how to put it. He's such an incredible person. He's very inspirational, motivational. He's a big part of the reason why I'm here right now talking to you. And he takes the time to drive all over the UK.
Mm.
He works a full time job as well. He just does this because he loves it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He just does this because he loves it.
I can empathize with
Uh,
that.
yeah, there you go. Exactly. You work a night and day, work yourself to the bone. But that's kind of what this is, and that's where we get these incredible people who come out of the
Mm.
woodwork. Is when it is such high pressure, who's going to rise to it? And Amir has really risen to that, and he goes to these gyms across the UK. He interviews them, he talks to them, he gets in depth. He did an incredible interview with me, which I thought was really. He asked me such incredible questions, and he did an interview with my coach Dan McGowan, two-time world champion. We both love him. But for those listening, uh, he did a great interview with Dan about his gym and filmed some pad work. And that must have taken 2, 3 hours, not including the tube journey there and back. He has a family. He has another job. He's just very, very passionate, and he will do this for every fighter. If you're a prelim fighter, you'll get this treatment. He'll
Mm.
do this for everyone. He sees the special parts of all people, and that's why he's going around and making this effort. And for me, that's a big part about what's different about World Super Series is when's the last time you got that? When I did my pro debut on Leapfrog, the amount of media that they did on me was ridiculous. They made me
Mm.
popular. It was just them. I haven't even had a pro fight yet, and they just blasted me with media that I could put all over my socials. Cool interviews, face-off videos, weigh-ins, great stuff, post-fight interviews, locker room stuff. Ah, it was just incredible. World Super Series is going to take that and 10x it, 100x it, and
Mm.
every single fighter who has a good story to tell is going to get to tell that story, and we're going to get these personalities that we love, and we're not going to have to find out about them by forcing them to go out swinging for the knockout. We're going to allow. It's exactly what you said, bro. It's exactly what you said. People have this misconception that Famor fighters are on the back foot, trying to get away, just trying to flick a kick out there. That is not true. Famor fighters are some of the scariest and most. Nobody wants to fight a Famor fighter. Nobody. Not because you're going to get embarrassed, but because you might get knocked out. Because
Mm.
they have a beautiful, beautiful style and an incredibly high fight IQ. That's what characterizes Muay Thai. It's fight IQ. It's not ability to like run around the ring. That doesn't make you a Famur. Um, so we're going to allow back foot fighting. We're going to allow front foot fighting. If two people want to go to war and just bang it out, they're also allowed. If two people want to get in a kicking exchange, they're allowed. If somebody's making the other guy miss and countering him back, that's allowed. It's all allowed. Traditional Muay Thai is allowed, but engagement has to happen. So if you're
Mm.
on the back foot and you're causing damage, you're fine. If you're on the front foot and you're causing damage, you're fine, right? Just if you're trying to stall the fight, if you're just trying to get away, if you're trying to rob the fans from what they're trying to see, which is entertainment, then we're going to have some systems in place that ensure that that doesn't happen and that you are allowed to fight your style. Yeah. For example, and we'll talk about the main event, but Alfie Pearse. I mean, he's an incredible fighter, but probably shouldn't fight on like one championship, let's say, just because his style is not exactly what they want to see. And
Mm.
that's obviously one championship have done incredible things for this sport, but they wouldn't prioritize the Muay Thai style. Yeah, but when you give him the opportunity to shine like RWS did, you realized you had a star on your hands, and England got another legendary UK fighter because of this pathway that he was allowed to take. So we're going to try and allow fighters to do that and explore themselves and kind of chisel the marble and find the statue that's underneath.
Now, just going to that, we'll go straight into the fight card, right? The first show that's happening, World Super Series. Tell us when it's happening.
Is March 14th at Woolwich Works in London. Woolwich Works is super easy to get to by tube, by train. It is just below the river, if I'm correct. I'm not a Londoner, so forgive me if I got that wrong, but I think it's just below the River Thames. It's really, really convenient to get to. It's a beautiful venue, and that is on March 14th, so 6 weeks away, basically.
People can't make it. Where can they watch it online as well?
If you go to World Super Series Instagram page, you're going to find the link for the pay-per-view. So that's World Super Series. It's nice and basic. USS, if you can't remember that. Go to their Instagram page. There will be a link for the pay-per-view. There will be a link to the website. It's not going to be hard for you to watch at all. We have something that is akin to the UFC Fight Pass, and that's kind of what we're trying to push. So we would like to have people signing up to this Fight Pass. As we're going to be doing shows all over the world, we want the same people to be able to watch their favorite fighters fight in London, which they can go to if they're from London or the UK. But then when they're in Spain, how are you going to watch it? Well, we have a Fight Pass, and it's super easy, and it is really, really reasonably priced. So do go check that out. But yeah, you can get the pay-per-view. Super easy.
We'll go back to that, and we'll go and talk a little bit about that a little later. But let's get straight into the main event. We've got Alfie Pearse versus Superlek Chitmuangnont. Okay, so incredible matchup. Everybody, well, I don't think everybody knows, but when Alfie was here in Thailand, we became good friends through Sordet Japan when I was training there. And I couldn't make it every day, so I ended up just holding pads for him. Alfie is an incredible young man. Incredible. Had a lot of fun holding pads for him. I was, wouldn't say one of his main pad holders, but definitely spent a lot of time, just holding there and taking a lot of punishment from him. I'm not going to want to be Superlek. I'll tell you that much. Having felt, and I'm a thick guy. I'm a thick guy now. I used to fight at 59 kilograms. I now switched that. I'm 95. And, that's a lot of beers over about 10 years. However, I've taken a lot of punishment to the stomach from Alfie Pearse. And when we talk about his last name, piercing knees, Alfie Pearse. He's got this incredible grip, the vice grip, what I like to call the vice grip, which is the forearm to forearm vice grip. Not only that, side control. As soon as he gets that palm over you from side control, puts the palm over the top of your mouth, gets that side control, delivers that left knee straight into your gut, it's going to be game over. Superlek Chitmuangnont, super cerebral fighter, former Channel 7 fighter, has fought on the likes of RWS, incredibly hard kicker as well. How did this matchup come about?
So this matchup came about because I will be honest, Alfie Pearce is one of my very, very favorite fighters. So uh, I try and emulate his style. So I love Alfie, and I wanted him on the show real bad. As soon as I got the job, I was like I told you, James Kostic, have to have him. Alfie Pearce, I had to have him on the show. So me and the boys, the team, we were just sat in the hotel after an event in the UK, and we were talking, and I said I would love to do Alfie Pearce versus Superlek Chitmuangnont. And there was a bit of confusion to start with because obviously Superlek Chitmuangnont is super, super famous. But Superlek Chitmuangnont is massively underrated, and I thought that that is just a great matchup because Alfie Pearce, I'm not interested in seeing him fight anybody who's not one of the best in the world. I want to see how can he stack up against the very best in the world. We've seen it a bunch of times, but I think he's an even better fighter now than he was then. And Superlek is obviously incredible. I had watched him fight Savas Michael. Controversial fight, however. I became aware that he's an incredible fighter. And I just thought that that was a brilliant matchup to make. So we talked about it, and then we had a chat with the matchmakers about it, and then we had a chat with the teams about it, and slowly, slowly, it just came to fruition. And thankfully, everybody was really great to work with along the way because I'm sure you know it's not easy getting a fight of this magnitude across the line, especially when it's not happening in Thailand, right? You have to fly them over to the UK. It's not easy. So Superlex team, Jip Monlon, very famous, but also total pros, absolute pros. and made the whole process very, very easy for us to arrange that fight.
Incredible, incredible matchup. I mean, one of the best international matchups, if we're talking about international matchups on international promotions, probably the best of the year so far. And one certainly to watch. I mean, we saw Alfie do so well on RWS during the tournament series, fighting the likes of, Petong Chai, beat Sangmani. How many people have beat Sangmani? Not many.
Many.
And the first Englishman ever to fight for the Rajadamnern title as well. First Englishman to ever fight for the Channel 7 title. Not only that, how many people could say that they've done that below 30 fights in their career?
Sorry, I want to add to that. You want to super cut it with the super special.
Yeah, you're super special.
There we go. I want to add to that it's not only under 30 fights. That's what's crazy, bro. It's under 4 years of training total. It's not even under 30, it is under 30 fights, but also that's not 30 fights over the course of a massive amateur career and then under 30 fights in pro. I think he had like one N class and then went straight to C class and then kind of progressed from there. He's like, you know, he's a rare man amongst rare men. He really is. And you know that better than anyone because you trained with him so much. There's something about him. When I speak to people about him, they just tell me he's a little bit crazy. Like something's off in a good way. Like he just does not feel the pressure in the same way that other people do, which is what has allowed him to take on these ridiculous challenges. Here's a stat: he has never lost to anybody who is not a current or former Rajadamnern Stadium. Wait, sorry, no, he lost to the. Okay, let's say current or former major stadium champion. So because he lost in the Channel 7 title fight. How crazy is that stat, bro? Everyone he fights who isn't the best of the best of the best of the best, he beats. That's nuts. And then also Sangmani, who is one of the most legendary fighters of all time, not just of this current generation, but he'll go down in the history books. He beat him. So it's not that he falls short at this top level, right? That's not why we've made this matchup. He can beat these guys. And we're just given an opportunity. And again, this is a 50-50 matchup, right? Superlek is no walk in the park.
No, absolutely not. Superlek is, as you said, very underrated fighter and just needs the right time to shine as well. And I think this is a good platform to do that. And I think, he did really well on RWS. That was a good platform for him as well. And these international formats, I think, are a really good platform for fighters like this to shine. Because without going into too deep into it, the traditional circuit is very protected and fighters are certainly guided a certain way. But when we get onto these international platforms, a lot of these fighters really, really start to perform. And we're seeing that. A lot of these stadium stars, when they're given the opportunity in the 3-round format or the higher paced, higher volume format, they really shine through. We saw that recently, only yesterday, Sidisak and Savas Michael, 3 rounds. Sidisak, incredible for a 5-round fighter who's been fighting on the traditional circuit for so long. Really shone through. I thought put up a really hard fight against Savas Michael. And, Savas has fought on some of these kind of formats before where you have to go. But Sidisak really hasn't. This is kind of the first time that he's been thrown in the deep end. Because if you think, fighting on that traditional stadium circuit, the pacing is different, the volume is different, the cadence is different. And then you're thrown into the mix with these foreigners who hit differently, who think differently, they fight differently. Savas, he fights like a Thai, but he's still got that Western cadence about him,
Yeah.
And these platforms really allow these guys to shine through and showing why, Thailand still is the home of Muay Thai. Now, how important are storylines and timing when making a fight like this happen? If we look at Alfie Pearse and Superlek.
Yeah, the timing is everything. Number one, whether a fight is in the ascendancy, whether a fighter has hit a few speed bumps, whether a fighter is in the descendancy of their career. Obviously, that's not the case with Alfie. Alfie's in the ascendancy, but let's say building off of his star power, which he has so much of.
Mm.
He's a massive ticket seller and he's very, very famous. And then Superlek, incredibly high skill level, accolades that we can go on about forever, lacking that international intrigue. So we have this. The timing comes together perfectly that Alfie Pearse is now based out of the UK again, back in his home team of JIB with Andy, and he needs to be tested against the top ties. Can't waste his career fighting, people who maybe are not to be rude to anyone, but any fighter who's below that top level, let's say. Alfie Pearce needs to. Alfie Pearce is. I was actually on the phone to Andy last night, and I was saying to him, Alfie Pearce deserves his opportunity to go down in the history books because he's earned it. He's done what needs to be done to fight for his spot in the history books. Now, Superlek officially is going down in the history books. Channel 7 Stadium champion. I mean, you're in the book somewhere, that's for sure. He needs his moment to shine on an international stage because he does have a great style. We're not talking about a boring fighter. He's great to watch. He's exciting. He is fameux, uh, but he's very exciting. Is what we were saying. Like he'll bring the fight to Alfie. So when you're talking about timeline, that's kind of it lining up right there. They each give each other what the other needs, and that's kind of this interesting thing about fighters are not enemies; they're actually teammates. They help build each other up, and that's what we have here. Now, when it comes to telling the story, that's exactly what you and I are doing right now. Because annoyingly, if you look up Superlek and you even type in Superlek Chitmuangnont,
You won't
Google
find
thinks
him.
you're getting it wrong. Yeah, it finds Superlek
You won't
Chitmuangnont,
find him. You won't find him. And if you want to find a lot of these Channel 7 fighters, you have to be able to read and write Thai.
which is a bummer because he deserves. He's worked incredibly hard at his craft and he's mastered it. Yeah, well, you can never really master Muay Thai, but as much as you can, he's mastered it. He deserves the chance to shine as well. Whether he wins or loses, he'll get a chance to show his fighting spirit and everything he's about. And maybe he leaves with a ton of new fans and changes his life. You know what I'm saying? So telling their story is incredibly important, and it's what we were saying about Amir doing that with World Super Series, and Mackenzie Taylor, who is head of the media. They're telling the stories of these fighters together, and that's kind of everything, bro. That's everything. Putting together the right fights at the right time, and then making sure that the world doesn't have to go and search to find out what is going on. Like, what is going on? Tell me. Tell it to my face. I go on Instagram and I can find some garbage like being poured all over me, but I have to go and like really, really dig to find out who Superlek is. I shouldn't have to. World Super Series is gonna pour that all over the world of Muay Thai, and everybody's going to know about these incredible fighters. I'm really excited to share about James Kostic. I can't at the moment, of course, but that's another one. We're gonna. I'm a blabbermouth. I wish I could share all the secrets, but I cannot wait to start telling that story as well. That's another one. James Kostic is ready for the limelight right now. I probably shouldn't be talking about anything other than March 14th, to be honest, because this is at a later date. But let's say a Nuson Lek, who's also from
I would.
Chitmangnon.
I was just about to get on to Ruben versus Anuson Lek. So
Let's do
tell me
that.
about that fight.
Yeah, so Ruben Siawani is an incredibly talented Spanish fighter. He's fought on RWS 2 times. He is somebody that we've had our eye on. So he's not, let's say, somebody that we've just got in touch with. We had our eye on him from well before we even started matching this card, let's say. And when we started matching the main event and they said, would you like any other fighters? We said, yes, please. And so Anuson Lek came in and we said, well, who can actually fight a Thai of this level? Ruben Sriwani is that guy. So he hits a demographic for us. Obviously, Spain is a country that we're involved in, but it's not really about the nationality. It's more about the skill set to deal with the Thai fighter, and Ruben's got that. I mean, the fight is March 14th. I think yesterday he just won by knockout in Cambodia. He's an incredibly active fighter. He's got a pair on him. He'll go to war, but he also has beautiful technique, and it's just a really exciting division, like 55 kilos.
Well, I think just Spanish Muay Thai is totally underrated in a sense as well. Just like like one of my best mates is he's from the Canary Islands, was a phenomenal fighter back in his day, incredible promoter as well, does fantastic matchups in Australia. Shout out to Iram, 1774 Promotions, but
Oh no way!
yeah, Spanish. The Spanish have an incredible relationship with Muay Thai. You look at guys like Xavi Gonzalez, you know, some of these guys that have come over and given their whole life to the sport, but they have this incredible fighting spirit. You look at any of the Spanish fighters that have come over to Thailand, they're not only technical, but they've got this incredible heart and grit as well. And I think this is one thing I'm looking forward to seeing Ruben employ, because sometimes when you're fighting these Thais, you have to dig down deep. They're hard hitters. If you've ever fought a Thai, and a decent Thai, they kick hard. I don't mind fighting a foreigner, but getting kicked on the arm by a southpaw and a solid ranked Thai, it hurts. It really hurts your arm. So, you've got to have a lot of grit and a lot of heart and determination to take on some of these guys. And especially in Anusorn Lek, coming from Chitmuangnont, that is no slump gym either. That is one of the premier gyms. They run their own promotions. They have a huge stable of fighters that fight on Channel 7, which is in its own ecosystem within Thailand is kind of the creme de la creme, right? So, you're fighting these top guys. You've got to have a big heart like a racehorse. And I feel that a lot of these Spanish fighters possess that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And it's kind of an interesting situation for him because, like you said, Jip Mongon Gym, they don't have any bad fighters to send over. This guy, like, again, relatively, well, super unknown. If we're saying Superlek's relatively unknown, then Anusolek is very unknown. But you just know he's going to be excellent. And so Ruben is taking on this crazy challenge that has really high risk, but the upside for him is so tremendous. Co-main event on this massive show that is going to get so many eyeballs. This massive event that is going to get so many eyeballs. Uh, he's already showing his heart and his determination by taking that fight. In fact, I just want to share with you what he said to me because there was an opponent change. We had offered him an opponent, super tough opponent. For reasons that were nobody's fault, that opponent was not able to fight. But he had said yes, kind of just like that, to fight him. So then I had to go to him and I'm like, oh gosh, I hope he's okay with this. I sent him a message. He said, what did he say? I think he said, who is this fighter? Anyway, of course I'll take it. It was like that. He was like, I'll fight anyone. I think he said that. I'll fight anyone. And I love that mentality because everybody says it. Everybody says that I'll fight anyone, but it's not true.
Mm.
Ruben was like, oh, a Thai from one of the best gyms on the planet. Yeah, I'll take it. Also, tell me a little bit about him, but I'll take it. It's a special mentality, and it's exactly what you're saying about the Spaniards, the Spanish people. Incredible heart, incredible fighting spirit, and we're gonna see that on display big time in the.
Bullfighters, mate. Bullfighters.
I mean, come on, who else would come up with that sport? You know what I'm
You
saying?
know?
That's a crazy sport. Who's fighting a bull? Pick a smaller animal. There are other animals that run at you. You could have chosen a different
I
animal.
know, you could have chosen a rabbit.
Yes, something
Uh,
small,
I know.
easy to get. No, and I was thinking about this a lot. I was thinking about this is literally the country where the people gather in the streets one time a year to run away from a rampaging bull, and it's
Mm.
just a part of their culture. That's nuts. The Spanish fighters possess a fighting spirit that goes well beyond fighting in the ring.
I think this is one thing that I really liked about when you guys approached me about World Super Series was that you were looking to unite different European countries, but also highlight the cultural aspects of their fighting spirit. Um, and I think that's a big part of what people forget is that each individual country or culture has their own fighting spirit. I mean, if you look at Australians kind of it's unique in its sense that they produce really hard fighters. Now they produce super technical fighters because of all the ties that have been going over there for the last 20 years. But huge fighting spirit. Muay Thai has had a phenomenally healthy ecosystem for the last 20 years. England, incredible fighting country as well. Ireland, look at Irish Muay Thai at the moment. Neil McGreevy yesterday, incredible. So, it's really important as well to highlight the different cultural fighting spirits within these countries. Now, just going down the card as well, Josh versus Nicholas feels like a sleeper fight, but it's not. Tell us about it.
Yeah, 100%. The only reason that that's not a that feels like a sleeper fight is that we don't know about them yet. But as soon as we know about them, we're gonna be like, how did we not? Josh Grave Sandy. There's big debate as to how we say his name, but we're going with Grave Sandy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got a funny story. I'll tell you off there. But yeah, so he was C class 1.5 years ago, which if you're not familiar with the format, not you, I'm sure you know, but the people listening, if you're not familiar with the way that they do things in England, what you do is you do inter clubs, which are non-scoring, very very controlled. You're not allowed to use power. You have to use, I think, 16-ounce gloves. It's a really safe way to get into kind of a competitive environment. They usually happen in gyms. Then you go to see N class. N class is amateur, stands for novice, and it's on proper shows. So we'll have a couple of N class on our show in March. It will be kind of separated, so there won't be. It's almost two independent shows, but they get to experience, let's say, the atmosphere of that fight day. But it's not going to be attached to the main card. Um, but that's for protection. So that's for amateurs, beginners. Then as soon as you're done with that, you move to C class. C class is no shin guards. It's 5 2-minute rounds. It's elbow pads. It's no kicks to the head. It's specific rules. He was C class 1.5 years ago, Brad,
Mm,
and now he is number 7 in the UK ranking.
wow, that's quite
That's
the step
crazy,
up.
and he's gone 10-0.
that's
So
almost
five
that's almost
times.
Alfie Pearse trajectory.
Yes, it literally is. It literally is on a smaller scale, right?
Yeah.
So if you can keep it going, let's say. So 1.5 years ago, you're one step past amateur, and now you're one of the best in the UK. And the
No wonder
UK
you,
is one of the best.
no wonder you're picking these guys up to fight in World Super Series.
Exactly, yeah. So on the opposite side, we have a similar story. So Nicolas Christou, a good friend of mine, we trained together. He is a fantastic, fantastic fighter, but he's had such an unbelievable string of bad luck.
Mm.
Injuries, pullouts. He was WBC Mediterranean champion. Lost his title not because he lost, but because his opponent pulled out so many times that they had to strip him because he hadn't defended it in the allotted period of time, which I think is a little bit unfair. But anyway, he has 6 pro fights. His
Mm.
sixth pro fight was fighting the UK number 2. He'd been out of the ring for a year, Golas at this point. Been out of the ring for a year. Before that, he'd been out of the ring for 2 years. So over a 3-year period, he'd averaged 2 fights. I think it is something like that. He accepts a fight against the UK number 2, Brandon Chillen, an incredibly dangerous fighter. An incredibly dangerous fighter. I would not fight him, and I'm significantly heavier than him. He accepts the fight against him, knocks him out in round 3 or 4 with a beautiful head kick. They had both hurt each other up to that point. It was a really, really even fight. I don't want to take anything away from Brandon. He just got caught with what was a beautifully set up head. From there again, injury, hasn't fought. I give him a call. I say, hey, bro, you want to fight this absolute monster who's on the rise, who has never tasted defeat, 10-0, 5-0 as a pro, has climbed into number 7 in the UK rankings in 1.5 years. He's like, yes, goosebumps. It's sick, bro. It's sick. Like these
Yeah.
are the individuals that we want to show to the world because they're rare men among rare men. These kind of people who will just take these opportunities when they're given because they're fighting men, right? And fighting men fight all the time. We only see it in the ring, but fighting men are always fighting and they're fighting against adversity. And that's exactly what he's doing now. And the scene in Cyprus is not great. We don't have a ton of these high level fighters. So it's not like
Mm,
he's in a gym right now with five other A-class fighters who are all pushing each other. Me and him have to meet up from different cities to train together. You know what I'm saying? He's coming to
mm.
stay in my gym for a little bit. He's going to sleep on a couch here. That's how much he wants it. He's leaving his house so that he can come here and train and get ready for this fight. He's facing a lot of adversity to get ready for this fight. And so is Josh. Nicolas has a wealth of amateur experience, a ton of amateur experience. So Josh might have the same amount of pro experience, but he's definitely up against it when it comes to total experience. But what we have here is two phenomenal stylists, beautiful technique, jumping techniques, spinning techniques, slick boxing, power punching. Let me tell you, Nicolas hits unbelievably hard, like several weight classes up. This is a sleeper because it's not main or co-main, but it might just steal the show if those two go at it the way that we think they will. We'll probably see a finish, and if we don't, we're going to see a 5 round war. Can't
Now,
wait for that.
just looking at the kind of the matching process for World Super Series, and we kind of touched on this. You kind of answered this a little bit just in that last bit, but when you're assessing the fighters, when you want to get these matchups, what are the qualities that matter most to you and the team?
Me personally. Okay, I'm the team. Well, I'll talk about me personally, and then I'll talk about the team because it is a different process. I have an idealistic view of Muay Thai, and then of course, when you're a business, you have to have a business view of Muay Thai. So we need people who can sell tickets. We need people who are going to be popular. We need people who are marketable, etc., etc., etc. When I'm looking at a fighter and I'm looking to match them, a lot of the time I'm looking at their mental state because I just want to know that when an opportunity is presented, they're gonna grab it. And that is for me one of the most important things. So you can be an incredible fighter. If you're not in the right headspace at that time, you're not going to be that fighter. We're not going to get the fight that we want from you. So when I'm looking to match a fight, I'm looking at the mental state of the fighter. How are they communicating with me? What is the interaction like? How are they responding to, let's say, fight offers that are coming their way? So that's super important for me, but that's not always easy to do. So I can see it, let's say with Nicolas because he's here, but then if I'm talking to a fighter on WhatsApp, it's not always easy to see. Something else that I'm looking for is just fighting spirit within the ring. I don't really care what your style is. You can be Muay Mat, Muay Cow, Muay Thai, Muay Thai. I don't care. If you've got fighting spirit and you're gonna go in there and you're gonna use your style to show your heart and your fighter spirit, it's something sick that RWS does. The Fighter Spirit Award, very cool. Because that's what it's about. That's what we want to see. We don't care whether you're gonna, throw a right hook and spin their head around. We just want to see your fighting spirit on display. When I'm looking at these fighters, it's like, yes, I have to pay attention to their social media account. I have to pay attention to how much they're posting. I have to pay attention to what their promotions are like, etc., etc. For me, my part of the job is: are we going to be talked about in years to come for putting on for putting on fights that mattered? Right? Is that how they're going to talk about us? Remember Yokao promotion in the early days, like in the UK? They put on a bunch of shows and a bunch of fights that mattered. They really mattered. They matter in today's landscape. They still matter. Those fights go down in history, and that's a beautiful thing. We get to tell a story that will be told for, maybe not forever, but a certain period of time. So for me, I'm looking at the storytelling side. Like, are these fighters going to grab their opportunity and take their moment to leave their mark on the world of Muay Thai? Right? It doesn't matter if you've got 100K followers. If you've got 5K followers or less, but you're going to go in there and you're going to seize the moment and you're going to go to war, that's the kind of fighter that we want.
I love that. I love that. Because often, I talk about it's kind of the fighter's job now to market themselves, but it's also, on the onus of the promotion to help with that. That's a promoter's job at the end of the day as well. Now, just looking at the actual promotion, what excites you the most about the future of World Super Series in years to come?
So I think that because of the team that the two owners, Charlie and Amir, have created, I think they've created such an incredible team of passionate individuals. Nobody's really jack of all trades in it, right? Like everybody has their job, and there's a really clear flow of who answers to who and who cooperates with who and who oversees and who advises, and it just creates an opportunity for World Super Series to become a really, really special organization. And again, I want to emphasize this: not better, just different. Right? We're not in competition with anybody. Just like I was saying that we're not that a fighter is not. We are literally in competition with our opponent, right? But actually, we're teammates working together to grow ourselves and the sport. That's the same with all of these promotions. We love RWS. We love all of these other promotions. We're all working together on creating popularity for Muay Thai. I just want to emphasize that we're not trying to be the best promotion. We're trying to do it our way, our different way that puts emphasis on certain things that maybe other promotions don't, and just create stories and create legacies that get told for many, many years to come. And part of that is in 5 years, I see World Super Series as an incredibly well established promotion worldwide that gets to give these opportunities to lots of fighters and gets to raise fighter purses and gets to increase the fighter's profile. And, you know, bro, you know this better than anyone probably. How much have you sacrificed for Muay Thai? Do you not think that you should have got a little bit more back? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, shouldn't you have got more money? Shouldn't you have got more fame? Shouldn't,
I should be
yeah,
getting
right?
that. I should be getting that now.
You should. I agree. Is everybody listening? But definitely as a fighter, bro. Definitely as a fighter. Like fighters are putting their lives on the line, literally. They're literally putting their lives on the line. They're incredibly cerebral athletes. Everybody likes to think of fighters as dumb people. Trust me, this is one of the hardest sports mentally in the whole world. You're playing human chess where one mistake. Okay, people don't. I just want to preface. Deaths in Muay Thai are very, very rare because of the way the sport is played. However, my point is, it does have repercussions on your health. So you're playing a game of human chess where one mistake could cost you a big portion of your health bar. You know, it's incredibly taxing physically, mentally. It's time consuming. They should be getting cheddar cheese all the time. They should be really rich, lots of sponsorships. And part of what we're going to be doing with our storytelling is giving these fighters opportunities to go and get sponsorships for themselves, you know, because if their profile grows, they can then get these sponsorship deals and they can then get that cheddar cheese. They can start making that money. So you asked me about where I see World Super Series long term, just established in Muay Thai and growing the sport and helping out everybody that is involved. We are grassroots all the way up to the top. Like we're not missing out on the grassroots level is my point. We want to help grow everybody that wants growth and that wants to commit to the sport.
Now, one last question before we bring it back around to just reminding people where to find the promotion, what date, all that. Finally, what advice would you give to young fighters who want to fight on World Super Series?
Awesome. I'm glad you asked. Get in the gym and stay in the gym. That is number one. I've seen many talented fighters, just myself in this gym, right? I've seen many fighters who I was like, they can make it somewhere, and then they drop off because they don't have that work ethic. You will never achieve anything if you don't keep going. And you don't know how much you can achieve if you keep going, but if you keep going, you'll find out. So it's that simple. You've got two options. Either don't be in the gym and you won't find out, be in the gym all the time, never quit and find out. Maybe you're destined to be champion of the world. Maybe you're destined to be just a good fighter. Maybe you're destined to be a social media star because your fighting style is so sick and everybody likes it. Get in the gym and stay in the gym. Make sure it's a good gym. Make sure they're looking out for your health. Don't stay in gyms. You put a post up about this. Don't stay in gyms where the sparring is too hard or let's say uncontrolled. Hard is important sometimes, but it's about the control, right? Nobody looking to knock each other out. Don't sacrifice your career in the gym, right? Training is for development, not for destruction. So find a really, really good gym and then stay in the gym. Trust your coach, trust the process. Don't be discouraged by the losses and don't let the wins get to your head and just keep working and work smart, but also work very, very hard. And then you'll get our attention and you'll be on World Super Series because we're scouting all the time. We're looking all the time, right? If you deserve to be on World Super Series, and that's not bigging us up. I'm just saying, if you're a good fighter, like, and you deserve a shot at a promotion, then we'll find you, right? Make yourself seen, and we're gonna find you 100%. But just make sure that when that moment comes, and me or somebody else on our team sends you a message and says, "Hey, we're looking for somebody your weight. Who can we talk to? What's your coaches?" We always go through the coach. Make sure that you're ready. And if you've not been in the gym, you're not going to be ready. So that's the number one thing I would say is just stay in the gym, take care of your health, take care of your brain, and fall in love with the art form of Muay Thai, right? Fall in love with the sport, study it. Study the golden era, study the silver era, study whatever you would call the 2010s, because I don't know, Peppermint Shoes
Bronze.
era. Bronze, I like it. Study the Bronze era. And also be into entertainment Muay Thai. Why not? But study, do lots of studying. Yeah, you said one thing, and I think I just gave you about six or seven, but yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. Love it. Now,
Mentally, I was shouting at my students.
well, I mean, this is important. This is an important thing. If we're looking to build, global pathways for fighters, fighters need to know how to get onto these shows. And this is a question I actually want to ask a lot of, promoters about. If fighters want to fight on these big shows, how do they actually get on there? And you've just described the perfect way. Less fight camps, more training. You know,
There you go. Yeah,
you know,
100%. That's great, bro. Make a t-shirt. Let's fight camps more training. That's so true.
you know.
And if you think you are that level, I want to be clear, like, if you genuinely think you are that level and you're ready and you've racked up some amateurs and CCOS, send us a message. The Instagram is manned, let's say. Don't spam us now. But I mean, if you're like, yeah, I can fit this mold, like, give me a chance, I'll pay you back with some incredible performance. Reach out, get your coach to reach out, right? Like, we're always looking for talented fighters. We're not sat up atop a hill, like looking down on the peasants. We're ready for interaction and cooperation with fighters, coaches, gyms, everyone. Get in touch.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that mentality. For the people, by the people, kind of mentality. Now, just remind us, first World Super Series show coming up, Alfie Pearse versus Superlek Chitmuangnont. That is the main event. Where can people watch it? Where is it? And where can people watch the live stream?
So it is March 14th at Woolwich Works in London. So that is WOOLWHICH, I believe, and then Works, like going to work. So Woolwich Works, it is a venue in London, easy to get to. You can find the pay-per-view stream on, I mean, definitely every single fighter who's fighting on the event, they will have it in their bio and you can get it from them. And then also, when you go on to buy the pay-per-view, you can actually choose which fighter you're buying from, even though you haven't bought a physical ticket from them, and they will get commission and rewards based on people just clicking their name, who you're here to watch, this fighter, and then they will get paid extra. So make sure you do that, support your fighters. It's more of what you were saying, right? We don't want them running around selling tickets. We want, but we do want them to get some extra
I,
reward.
I really love that model. As being a fighter in the mid 2010s and having to run around, get like 10% commission off tickets, and you're in weight cut week and you've got somebody saying, oh, buy 10 tickets, and then they end up not buying them, and you've driven halfway across town and you're hungry, you're starving. That something like that, just a little platform like that, makes a massive difference to the fighters. You're trying to make, I think this is a big thing, like some promoters don't realize, you want to make fight week as easy as possible for the fighters. Like, it's not just about the promoter or the promotion. It's about the product that you're selling is is the fighter. You want to make them as comfortable as possible. And this idea of having the commission rate on the platform, fucking massive deal. People don't realize how big of a deal this is for fighters. Most people who are fought would know what I'm talking about. Professional fighters, at least, because I mean, we've all been there. We've all done that.
Yeah. And it actually goes beyond that. So even the physical tickets, so even if we're not doing the pay-per-view stream, you don't have to buy physical tickets. You can buy digital tickets online
Hmm.
that you can then have as a pass on your phone or print out, however you want to do it. And still, you choose who the fighter is that you're getting that from, and commission goes to them. So like they can get commission in so many different ways that don't require them to do anything if they choose not to. Of course, if you're going around selling physical, you're also going to make a little bit extra. But if you choose not to because of what you said, right? You're having a hard weight cut. The fighter is the star. The fighter is the product. We need to make fight week as easy as possible and allow them to be their best selves on fight night. And so that's what we're aiming to do. So you can go to World Super Series Instagram page. We have one for every country actually, so you can find that in wherever you are in your own language. So World Super Series on Instagram. Buy the pay-per-view link, or if you're in London or you would like to fly over, I'm going to be there. I'm flying in from Cyprus. You can buy tickets online, digital tickets. Choose who you're going to see, and then go and scan those at the door, and you'll get in. So you can get pay-per-view and sign up to. I'm not sure the exact prices. You'll have to check this, but we have a monthly, like half month or a full year. Sorry, fully half year or full year subscription. It's really, really, really reasonably priced. It's something like maybe £50, £60 for a year. And when you do that, you get some perks as well. So those will be detailed within the package. But we're rewarding the fans as well for joining the experience. And then extra commission will again go to the fighters depending on what Fight Pass subscription people purchase. So this is a win, 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 win all the way around. Everybody's winning when it comes to this first event at Woolwich Works, March 14th. So either get your pay-per-view, get your digital tickets, or get your physical tickets if you're in the gym with the fighter, and make sure you don't miss it. It's going to be absolutely nuts.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I know I'm going to get my pay-per-view and sign up for the World Super Series Fight Pass. I also want to see all the extra content that goes with the Fight Pass as well. Don't forget that, that's a big part of it as well, seeing all the extra behind-the-scenes content. And, people, really do like watching that. And I think that's one of the things that, Muay Thai has been missing, being, a top-tier product in the past. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, all I'm going to say is give Josh Martin a follow on Instagram as well. Got a fight coming up soon as well. My friend, thank you very much for joining the podcast. I'm looking forward to the first show and looking for the next, 10 years of shows as well and being, part of the project and really look forward to it. If you guys like this episode, you can like, share, and subscribe. Josh Martin, where can people find you?
You can find my personal fighters profile, Josh Martin TBG, which stands for the Big Gym. You can find the Big Gym, which is located in Cyprus, and we do accept people who are here for a holiday and would like to train under the Big Gym underscore Larnaca. That's the Instagram pages. Those are the best places to find us. Or if you want to go to our website, thebiggymcy.com, those are all good places. Uh, Joseph Comerford, the man, the truth, the legend. I've followed you a long time. I told you this off air. I've been a big fan for a long time. I actually loved the content that you were doing with Alfie before we had ever spoken to each other. Because obviously Alfie, I was obsessed with that, with watching his training videos. It's really an honor to be on your podcast today. So thank you so much, and thank you for letting me talk about World Super.
No problem, my friend, and I look forward to doing more with you about the upcoming cards, and then obviously we'll talk about post-fight after March when that comes around. And looking forward to seeing my boy Alfie fight again. It's been a while since he's been back in the ring, had a little bit of time off, and he can dust off those gloves and get back into it. But World Super Series, very exciting project. I mean, we can't say too much about it because all that information will come out later and from the official sources. But from what I've been told, I'll tell you what, if I'm excited, you should be excited, ladies and gentlemen. This is Chok Muay Chats.